Hi, Sean Sturber, Warranty Manager here at Charleston Homes, and today the topic we want to talk about is common electrical concerns in the winter. Basically, every winter we get a few calls regarding the electrical items in their home maybe not performing or working the way they're intended to. Mostly has to do with like Christmas lights and different holiday packages and things like that. But what we're going to do today is kind of discuss what an arc fault circuit interrupter is, what a ground fault circuit interrupter is, the difference between the two, how to reset a breaker properly, and then talk to you a little bit about why those items tend to trip and can trip and will trip as a result. So let's kind of go through the house here and we'll take a look at some different items and scenarios. Here we are in the Alexandra plan. I've got Todd Hansen, Assistant Warranty Manager, and today we're going to talk about ground fault circuit interrupters, or better known as GFCIs. These outlets are unique in the sense that they sense moisture or water, and when they come into contact with it, it shuts off the power entirely. They'll be found and located in your kitchens, your bathrooms, any exterior areas, the basements, as well as the garages. So these particular outlets basically have a test and a reset button on the main outlet, and then you can have a series or other outlets tied to that. For example, if you have your reset GFI in the master bathroom, there's generally one extra outlet there, and then any of your other bathrooms are all tied to that one outlet. So if you plugged into your main bathroom and there's no power, look for the reset to be in your master bathroom. If you're outside and you plug something in and you don't have any power, the reset for that is generally found in the basement, in the storage room, utility area. Sometimes boxes or totes can cover it up, but just kind of look for one of these GFI style outlets to reset. Kitchens, it's usually broke down into two different breakers or circuits, one on one side of the kitchen, one on the other. And so Todd here is going to demonstrate how those actually work. So what he did was hit the test button. It then simulated a surge or water, moisture, and then shut the power off to that outlet over here. Now to reset it, all he does is push the reset button. It then restores power back to that outlet. Down in the basement, I've got Brian Hansen, Assistant Warranty Manager, and we're going to kind of try to demonstrate or explain what an arc fault circuit interrupter, or better known as the AFCI. And so the purpose of that breaker is required by code, and it detects any arcs or sparks in the circuitry. So if there's anything like cut or nicked and it sparks or arcs or in the switches, it's going to cause that breaker to trip or shut off before any fire or hazards appear or happen. The only bad thing or the potential problem we run into is some devices, they purposely use the arc or the spark effect to run, such as a corded drill. It's got brushes that turn and they cause the arcing or sparking. That's an intentional part of that device in order to propel the motor, but the breaker doesn't have the recognition to determine if that's a good or bad, so it just shuts it off. So when using different items in the household, you can experience where the breaker just randomly shuts off or won't stay to where it resets. A few of those items Brian and I will talk about. The few that come to my mind is vacuum cleaners. As the brushes get turned, it propels, and a lot of times I'll end up just shutting that arc fault breaker off. Blenders, and then you've also got, like I said, the electric drills. Brian?
So as we move into the holiday season, I know a lot of people will be installing Christmas lights and stuff like that on their houses. Those do have a tendency to trip the arc fault breakers. So just be kind of cognizant of that as you guys move forward throughout these next couple months. If you do see a few trips on those breakers, there's a good chance that that's where it's coming from.
So we're getting ready to install lights at our house, and like most people, and so what you're saying is basically I plug in my lights to the outside or inside, and potentially either or could could shut off? Or
yeah, that's a very good possibility. I mean, you just got to, like I said, just be kind of cognizant of that. I mean, if you find that you're tripping some breakers and stuff like that, because a lot of that's, that wiring in those, it's a lighter gauge, and sometimes the connections might not always be 100%. So if there is a small crack in a wire or something like that, and it does arc, it'll trip that breaker downstairs in the basement.
Very good. And can you show me how to reset the arc faults, or show everyone how to do that? So go down to your electrical panel, and most panels will look like this, so they're 150 or 200 amp service.
Yep, and so these arc fault ones, they're actually gonna have a little bit of green in them, and they'll have another little white button. Well, to test them out, you can push the white button, and it'll actually trip that breaker. So what you want to do to get that turned back on is to push it all the way off, and then push it all the way back on.
So the key is not to just try to flip it to on, but you actually have to turn it all the way to off to reset it, and you'll hear it click or feel it click, and then pull it back to on.
Yeah, because if I just try to push it back on, it just falls right back into that center, and it's not going to be working for you. So make sure that, like Sean said, let's push it all the way to the left on this side, and then push it all the way back to the right there.
Yep. And they're labeled on off on there, so you'll be able to tell the difference. So in short, basically arc faults are safety features that are required by electrical. They sometimes can nuisance trip, meaning give a false reading and accidentally trip. I would say like some electronics would also cause that to potentially happen.
Yeah, TVs will cause it. I mean, some receivers, if you have a stereo receiver, you could see it with those as well too. So just be aware. It's something to possibly expect as we move through the winter months and seasons. Static electricity is a cause as well too. So again, those are just some pointers that we kind of wanted to give to you in regards to arc fault breakers.
Now the breakers themselves, if you're experienced where they trip and they consistently trip the same devices over and over, one, check your device. If you've tried another device and it works fine, then the problem is in the device. If it continues to trip in multiple locations, you could always send in a warranty request. But at the first sign of a trip, I would say it's fairly normal. It's potentially going to happen. So if it's reoccurring, it may be a potential problem. But if it's a one or two here and there, then just kind of monitor it. Well, that concludes our common electrical concerns in the winter time. We want to thank you as always for checking out our blog. Feel free to check out our website, charlestonhomesomaha.com, and we've got some additional blogs on there too. So if you need some more information, otherwise check out our website. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.